Hi, welcome to the Knits and Things podcast. My name is Heather. I am Heather219 on Ravelry and Instagram. Those are my main two places to hang out online, so come find me. I also have a blog with the same name as the podcast, Knits and Things, on WordPress. And there is a group on Ravelry that you can come find me at as well. In one of those. All right. So I just wanted to record real quick. I don't think this is going to be long at all today. Not much knitting going on. Whole lot of working going on. No time for me. But I realized the house was quiet and I was like searching for things on YouTube to watch. So I figured I would record real quick. So just a real quick update on what's been going on here. Let's do knitting first and then I'll do personal stuff because there's some personal stuff too. And I apologize right now. It's kind of cool here in Maryland these days. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2014, and it is currently about 60 degrees outside, but it's cold and dreary and rainy, so there's like a chill in the house. So I'm in this back extension room, and there's like a little heater on our entertainment center that's like behind where the whole setup is. So you might hear it cycle on and off. I hope it's not too noisy. I'll try and listen a bit before I post, and hopefully this isn't annoying. So knitting wise, I am working on, actually I'm going to show you, I might as well show you this. I'm working on my Hito Fude in the Jill Draper Makes Stuff yarn in the Esopus base. Her fingering base, anyway. Oh, the lighting is probably not the best today. I think it just looks like a brown blob. Sorry. I have the lights going a little bit different way. You know what? I'm going to try and run and turn on the ceiling fan. Better lights? Oh, and now am I all washed out? Sorry. Okay, you can see the knitting though, right? That's the important part, not me. Oh, that looks much better. So this is the Esopus base, and I want to say it's some kind of like coffee colorway name. It is in one of my Fat Squirrel bags. I posted on Instagram earlier this week. Actually last week because her update was last Friday and I was thankfully doing a cabbie show so I couldn't buy any bags. Sorry. I really wanted to buy like 3 of the bags. One of each please. But she was doing, this is her large sweater bag, but she does a bigger size, and the bigger size that she did, this is Amy of the Fat Squirrel Speaks. Amy Beth of Fat Squirrel Speaks. Right? Did I get that right? I hope so. Who does bags, and gorgeous, gorgeous bags. I love her style of bag. This is the large sweater size. There's another size that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more rectangular, but then she does a big sweater bag, the Aran sweater bag, and it kind of like can double as a pillow, and that's exactly what I do with it. The one that she was doing last Friday was like rusts and browns and florally, and I think it goes with my living room much better than the one I have of hers that I'm using exactly like I want. So I have like 4 or 5 project bags stuffed into it and zipped closed, and it's like bulging at the seams, and it looks just like a pillow, and it's just sitting in my own living room on the couch, and I love it. And I was very tempted by her colorway, by her new bag. I'm supposed to be showing you a colorway. So this is the Esopus base, and no, it's not coffee colored. It's mahogany. Gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. I love this yarn. I love working on this project, but you do have to concentrate. So I haven't worked on it as much as I need to these last days. I'm doing the last of the repeats for the sleeves before I need to start with other things. So I think you were supposed to do 11 repeats for the sleeves, and I think this is actually the 12th because I've heard from a couple different people that they wish that they had at least 1 or maybe 2 more repeats on the sleeves. And based on how it fits, I think that's what I want. I also heard from another friend of a different way to look at the neckline. So once I'm finished with this repeat, I'm actually going to go look at the pattern and check out some more project notes so I can see exactly how to alter it so that it's got a little bit more of a narrowed in neckline. So if you have any tips for that, feel free to make some comments in the group. Then I want to show you the socks that I'm working on, and these are socks that I'm doing 2 at a time, basically a plain vanilla sock. It's actually, there's a pattern called Wendell the Weird that I like to do that's very plain vanilla, but it does have a little bit of ribbing here on the foot, and then it continues once you get to the leg. It's got ribbing on the front and the back of the leg to pull it in and give it a little bit of snugness. And I'm doing these for my mother for Christmas. She doesn't know this yet, though. So this marled yarn is Koigu KPPPM in a colorway that has numbers because that's what Koigu does. And the toes are cephalopod yarns in the VW Bug colorway. So that's a gorgeous green, even though my VW Bug is blue. So, oh, that's a good picture of the yarn. That's very, very close. It's maybe a little bit more bluish there, and here it's more like a hunter foresty green. And I'm looking for the Koigu tag, but I don't see it. But this is the ball of Koigu that I have, and this is all that I have is just this one skein. It was a kind of a souvenir skein. So I wanted to do the socks 2 at a time so that I'm sure not to run out. I'm probably going to do the VW Bug color on the toes and the heels, and possibly even on the cuff. It depends on how much yarn I use up, because there's only 175, I think, yards in a skein of Koigu. So that is all I'm working on. That is it. I would like to be working on some more things, but that's getting all my time. And so I've pretty much decided that I'm going to knit Christmas gifts this year instead of making Christmas gifts. My son and I are taking another cruise. We did a cruise for diabetes last year at Christmas break time, and we're going to do another one. We signed up for the next one while we were there last year. So we're going to do that one again, and that's kind of tapping me out right now. So knitted gifts for Christmas is pretty much it. So the socks are for my mother. The shawl I showed you guys last week for my sister, none of whom watched this show, so no spoilers here. And I will probably make for my dad a hat. So if you know of a really good man's hat, and he loves to wear wool hats. He wears wool hats inside the house because he's bald. So he always likes to have something warm. And he'll even wear a knitted hat underneath, like a baseball cap, or his like rain type hat if he's going out lugging wood back and forth and things. So I think he'll get used to it out of a hat. He's gotten a couple hats lately, but he loves them and he wears them. So I think I'm going to make a hat for him. And I might make a hat for my brother-in-law as well. And that will be the people I need to do. I'm considering making one for my ex as well. My ex, we have a really strange family. My ex always comes over Christmas morning because I refuse to let my son go to his house for Christmas morning. And he knows he's a Scrooge. I know he's a Scrooge, so we've just never fought it. That's just the way it always is. So I might make him something. Okay, sorry about that. Phone calls, and the phone is sitting like right here next to me too, so I had to answer it. So the other things I wanted to do today were show you some things. One thing that I don't think I ever showed you as a finished object, and then 2 new acquisitions, and then an appeal for help. So the first thing was, I went to my knit group on Saturday, and a friend asked me, she said, "Did you ever finish your Viajante?" And I thought, oh, I didn't show you that. And I don't know that I showed it here either. I think I might have talked about it, but I don't think I showed it. So here is my Viajante, or Viajange, or however it's said, that pattern that we all know about. So this is Viajante. It's a pattern by Martina Baim. And I'll have to tell you what I'm wearing as well after that. So can you see a little bit? Maybe not. And this is it. This is the doubled up way, which I kind of like it just like this because it did not turn out as wide as I want, and I'm sure that's my fault, I'm sure, because I jumped the gun and I was anxious about closing up the neckline to make it a circular shawl. And so I think it's not as wide as it needs to be to cover my shoulders because of that. I'm not 100% positive, but I think. I also am thinking that because I was using actual lace weight yarn, that ended up kind of messing with my gauge and how I was knitting and everything else. I did not use all 1,800 yards of the skeins that I had, of the yarn that I had. I stopped. I probably have about a half a ball of the second skein of Ghost Light left. This was done in Leading Men Fiber Arts Ghost Light. That's their lace weight yarn in this gorgeous, gorgeous color. I don't remember the color name. Black, anyway. And I love the texture. I love the variegation in there. It's kind of not variegated. It's tonal, right? When you see darker tones and then lighter tones. So I really like it as a shawl this way. And I have worn it kind of, you know, bunched up over my neck. I will try and show you that. So this is the end. I think I rushed it getting to this point to make it the circle. I should have done it longer because it just fits over my head even with blocking. Right? It just fits over my head. So I think it's my fault that it doesn't fit over my shoulders like I want. So I want to make another one. Once I'm past Christmas gifts and everything, I will probably just cast one on and kind of have it going just knit on it here and there until it's done. So I have worn it a couple times, you know, the way it's supposed to be worn, over your neck, over your shoulder rather, and then it bunches up around my neck like I've heard a couple of people complain about. It kind of just bunches up around my neck, but I can pull it down, and I actually wore it in my classroom this way. Can I grab the edge? It's my hair. So I can pull it down, but it looks a little bit sausage casing like. But I could do this, take it to the movies, wherever, and cover up, and I'd be fine. Again, I want it a little bit bigger. I want it a little roomier. I don't want it to be as close fitting. So I like it. I'm happy with the finished object, knowing that it was my fault that it wound up as small as it did. But I'm happy with it, and I think it works out wonderfully as a doubled piece. Now, one thing I did do is I kind of wanted to get, I couldn't decide on the edge to do, so, and I wanted to get use of the yarn. I knew I was kind of ending early, so I did both edges. So I did the lace, and I do have a mistake in my lace somewhere, but I'm not worried about it. So I did do the lace, and then I did a rolled edge, a ruffled, little bit of a ruffled edge too, but you can barely see it. When I blocked it out, it kind of smoothed right out. So I did just the kind of barely a ruffle. I did a couple increases here and there. It wasn't exactly what the pattern stated, but there is a little bit of a roll to it, a little bit of a ruffle. So that's my Viajante. Very, very nice. Could be better. Will be done again. So I'm trying to see what yarn I want to get and when, because I'm not in the yarn buying market right now either. All right, next thing. Acquisitions. I got two things. I'll go in order. The first thing was that I got a skein of yarn in the mail in a lovely little loopy U box, right? You love it when that happens. And this is my reward yarn for, should I wait? This is my reward yarn for doing Camp Loopy. So I don't think it's a spoiler because I've had it for like 2 weeks. So spoiler alert if you're late. There were 3 colors available. One was very green, kind of limey green. I have a lot of limey green yarn. It's one of my favorite colors. It's something I'm always drawn to. So I didn't want to do that because I have that. One was like shades of mocha-y, brownie, like taupe and brown. And that was kind of masculine looking, and I didn't really think that I needed anything masculine looking like that. So I went with something a little outside of my comfort zone, a little outside of my color scheme. I went with Summer Bloom, and this is Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play. This is, I believe, yarn that they do there. Don't quote me. But look at all those nice, bright colors. So there's the limey green there. There's red. When my mother saw this, she said, oh, look, red, white, and blue yarn. And it is kind of red, white, and blue. And then it's got, you know, the greens in there too. So I think Summer Bloom is a great colorway name. And I really, really like the nice colors in this. Now things are getting a little washed out now because now we have just the light because the sun is setting here. But I really think it's very nice and squishy. And this is their hat box yarn. This is 75% superwash merino wool, 15% silk, and 15% cashmere. And it's very, very squishy. It's a sport weight. And although it looks very thin for sport weight, but they said it was a sport weight, and It's 317 yards. Very, very nice. I really like it. I'm thinking cowl. I'm thinking. Yes. So that is one acquisition. I don't know that I need any suggestions for that one, but the next thing, I need some suggestions. So at my knit group, we had a lady that comes. My knit group is so fun. You never know who's going to show up because there's so many people that are members, and not everybody can come every time, and nobody stresses about trying to be there every time, except for the two ladies that kind of started the group. And people just show up, and you kind of take your hits and misses when they come, and you enjoy who's there, and you learn stuff, and you share stuff, and you knit together, and it's great. So this woman used to own a shop in a local mall, a local mill turned mall type area, and when she went out of business, she still had a lot of stock. So she brought in, she said she was asked to bring in some things, and she brought us this unspun wool in these little circles, little cakes. And it's basically very, very, very thin, like pencil roving. It's not spun. It's not technically yarn yet. But you can knit with this, and you can make really nice stuff. So she actually was making a scarf. And I got it because I thought the colors were interesting. It's pink and like a bluish green and white. And it looks kind of pink and white and blue when it was being knit up in the scarf. It looks, the middle color looks a lot more blue than green. So I got it. She wanted like $7 for this, and so I grabbed it. I'm thinking there's around 300-ish yards. The package said that 1 pound of it would do an average sweater. So I'm assuming that they thought that 1 pound was about 900 to 1,000 yards. So 3 of them would be about 300 yards, maybe. So I would like to know what to do with this. I was originally thinking that maybe I would do an infinity cowl because I haven't done one for myself yet, like maybe just the Gaptastic cowl. But then I'm concerned about felting. So I'm thinking maybe it's a smart idea to do something that is felted. So I don't really know. So if you have an idea, I was thinking maybe a felted hat for maybe a little girl. These are definitely not my colors. I wouldn't wear it if it was a hat. I might wear it if it was a cowl. But I probably wouldn't wear it if it was a hat. But I might do it and give it away to a coworker or something. I have a coworker who has a 2-year-old. I have another coworker. Well, I have another coworker who has like a 6-year-old, but she's also got an older daughter, so that probably wouldn't work out. So I have a coworker who has a 2-year-old girl who might like something like this. So do you know any felted hat patterns that would be good for a little girl? Or maybe felted hat patterns that would be good for a little old lady, and I can give that to my mother as well. So let me know what you think. So unspun wool, about 300-ish yards, I'm assuming. Pink and white and blue. What would you do? I don't know. I'm puzzled. And that's about it for the knitting. That's all that's going on in my knitting world right now. Like I said, I'm very short on time. Last night I took knitting with me to lacrosse practice. I actually took my charged iPad so I could record, and it was almost pitch black by the time I got there. The light is changing, the days are getting shorter, and it was almost dark by the time I got there. It was too dark even when I first pulled in to record. So I spent the night making calls for Cabby. So nice, quick little update. Hope you enjoyed it. Good to see you. I'm going to go check out some more videos on YouTube. I'm going to check and see if Amy Beth is going to do an update tonight. She mentioned that she might do one. I don't know that I've seen her podcast this week to know if she posted that she was going to do one. Maybe I'll check Instagram too. And I'm just hanging out and relaxing on a Friday night because I know I have lots more work to do this weekend and running the boy around as usual. So that's it for now. Until next time, bye. I hope your knitting makes you happy. Bye.